course, actually. I went to Lizard, and I was like, I really want to make something about this, about all the absolute shite that people talk in nightclubs and the awful, stressful things. Would you want to do that with me?
And I was like, yeah, let's make it a dance show.
Yeah, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
Right, amazing. Okay. So, I mean, off the back of that then, given that you were the only 2 trans people in that class and actually in the entire course, I mean, what were your aspirations in terms of what people would take from the show?
I think our original aims with the original 15-minute performance was just like for cis people to really think about like the words they use and how much power their opinions of us has, especially like in the political landscape, and how much we do and have to do to try and win them over just to be able to move through the world.
How much we're often not saying just to be able to get through a conversation without it turning into an argument.
Yeah. No, I think that came across. There was stuff in there that I found really powerful. It made me think about a lot of things, and that's a transition I've been on for the last 18 months, is getting to grips with that language and how it affects friends and partners and things like that. Okay, how was actually curating and performing the show affected the pair of you? How has there been, what sort of growth has been there, if any?
I think it's been quite helpful because it's allowed us to meet a lot of trans people who have been able to say to us, you know, this was really cathartic for me. It was very helpful for me to watch this. Like, it helped me to feel things I haven't been able to feel for a long time. And that, I mean, the fact that we even managed to do that for a few people is very good. It makes me really happy. So I feel like it's been quite restorative to be able to perform this show and then have those conversations with people afterwards, which obviously we can't do anymore. But
normally we'd like invite people to like meet us in the bar if they want to chat. And yeah, I agree. That's like the best part of the show is like the after bit where we get to talk to fellow trans people.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a way. I mean, I think we talked about this earlier about, I mean, there may be questions that come through when we're actually doing the live stream, and if there are questions that people want to send in, we can get that put over. We can get contact details, things like that, for if you've got websites and Facebook pages, so we can still kind of keep that stuff going.
that'd be nice.
Okay, then. I mean, the final thing then was really, I mean, how do you think like performances like this can begin to change the narrative that is typical that came out in the interviews there?
I mean, hopefully, especially the cis people that see it, they can take a deep introspective look at how they think of gender and sex and sexuality and begin to unpick, because it's ingrained in all of us from such an early age, these ideas that are unhealthy and untrue. And unpicking that, you know, even as a trans person is very difficult, let alone for someone who doesn't have trans friends, who doesn't have access to that community of knowledge necessarily. So hopefully it's helping people do that internal work.
Yeah, I also think that, like, probably going to get this terribly wrong. I think it's an Audre Lorde quote that says, I believe that what's most important to me must be spoken aloud. And art that like really expresses like what you feel most passionate about, the things that you want to say, and then like both expressing that on stage, or on the other hand seeing that on stage, that can be like really helpful for people and like see their story or like how they feel on stage.
Yeah.
Is that a good answer? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's good. Cool. Yeah, perfect. Right, okay. Well, thanks to both of you. Really loved the performance. I thought it was really good. There were some bits in there, particularly some of the interviews, the way it was wrapped up, that gave me food for thought yesterday. I actually went away and spoke to people and said, oh, you're never going to guess. There's some really great bits of stuff that they had in there. So, okay, I'll let you both go if you want to go and enjoy the rest of the show. Big round of applause then for Plastercast. Yay. Woo! Artist to the last. Okay, so the Lousy Badgers here at the NIAS Centre in Hume. For the last 2.5 years, this crew of vagabonds, has split blood and tears to try and reimagine and pay homage to this amazing centre. It's got a deep heritage within Humans, we talked about before, and the UK music scene. And community is at the heart. Community is at the heart. It's been a long slog getting that community here, but I think slowly but surely we're actually starting to do that. And it's a great centre. It gives a lot of opportunity to marginalised areas of society, particularly around the Hume Moss Side area and further afield. And I think this is what drives this amazing venue. Now, in keeping with that and this theme, we have coming up next week the next in the series of unfortunate events. The next show is called Purpose. Now, Purpose is a celebration of black excellence. It's going to reflect on the impact of black in the art world and the continuing legacy by creating beauty. It's going to be a live stream performance again. It will include chamber music written by black composers. There'll be dance, singing, poetry, storytelling, a whole host of sharing of experience of black artists. The artists will include the Black Transcendental Quartet, Sean Braithwaite, Yemi Bolatiwa, Maisha Kungu and Sarah Cassie from Kumba, and then to top that all off, the very own Untold Orchestra. Now, a couple of projects that we've got underway at the Naya Centre currently. One of them, which you can appreciate because of COVID, hasn't been able to start fully, is Kumba. Now, Kumba is a grassroots hyperlocal production syndicate. It's an assembly of freelance artists, musicians, poets, filmmakers, political and social organisers that have been brought together towards a vision of accessible, equitable and progressive change. Now, Kumba is the sixth pillar in the Nguzo Saba. And basically what Kumba describes is creativity in the cause of improving the community to make it more beautiful and useful. So we've got two things there. We've got Purpose coming up next week, and then we've got Kumba as a project that's happening. Now, obviously, because of COVID, these things are not going to be as accessible as what they normally would be. But I'm going to invite people, if you want to get involved as and when the lockdown starts to cease, if you want to get in touch with the Naya Centre through their Facebook page, or you can send an email to thenayamossideas@gmail.com. And hopefully after lockdown you can pop in, have a coffee, and there'll be more stuff to get involved with. Okay, so up next we have another great group, again local, very local to the Manchester area. They're called the Carlo Theatre, and they're going to be doing a production of Life Between Yes and No. And so what we'll do is we'll bring these guys out first, we'll have a little crack with them, and then we can crack on with the performance. So if you can have a round of applause for Carlo Theatre. And we're going to end there, because we'll pick that back up when we go through their tech run. And we'll do their interview, that poem, and then into that next bit. So when that happens, no, it's them coming out for the interview. They're going to do the interview beforehand. They'll go backstage. Whilst they're going backstage to come on stage left, I'm going to do a poem, and that gives them time to set up. And then when I finish the poem, the cue for Carlo will be the end of the poem. So then it will be, okay, so it's Peace and Love from Badger, and now settle back for the Carlo Theatre's Life Between Yes and No. So that'll be the cue. But we can practice that when we do the run through for theirs, if that's all right.